Groups in Minnesota are reacting to the Pentagon order last night to identify and remove transgender service members. Ian Russell's here now with those details.
Lauren, this new memo would require the Pentagon to identify service members who have a, quote, current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms with gender dysphoria. Those who are identified will be given an honorable separation unless their record reflects otherwise. Local groups here advocating for LGBTQ+ individuals say this is just targeting their community.
But it's really about the wholesale participation of these communities in public life.
Kat Rohn knows this conversation has been ongoing for years and hasn't gotten any less painful.
So using rhetoric that is really harmful and derogatory towards our communities and to folks who are actively serving our country today.
The Department of Defense filed a memo in court last night outlining new guidelines for transgender service members. That filing came as part of a lawsuit from several LGBTQ+ rights groups against President Donald Trump's executive order barring transgender people from enlisting and serving. This new directive says those who, quote, exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria are no longer eligible for military service.
This will be a chapter in our future history that we'll come back and revisit and, really look upon with disgrace about how Americans are treating folks who have volunteered to serve this country.
That directive says the Department of Defense will no longer fund gender-affirming care, something the first Trump administration had continued to do. This comes just over 2 weeks after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stopped allowing transgender individuals to join the military. The United States Armed Forces has roughly 1.3 million members, according to NBC. Estimates from law schools and advocacy groups estimate there's roughly 15,000 active transgender troops.
And I think, when we talk about supporting Americans and standing up for our values as a country and our Constitution and, our rights and freedoms as individuals, it means all of us, even when we might disagree politically.
Now, the memo does say some transgender service members can be considered for a waiver on a case-by-case basis. The Minnesota National Guard told me today that they are required by law to comply with Department of Defense directives and policies, but they are dedicated to providing all staff with respect, professionalism, and mutual support.